So this is Go Math Unit 3, Lesson 8, and today we're talking about quadrants. So we were previously looking in Lesson 7 about a coordinate grid, and we know that a coordinate grid is just a horizontal and a vertical number line put on top of each other. So what I've done is I've laid out a very rough coordinate grid here. I'll actually take a second just to straighten up this line a little bit so that there's no confusion. Yeah, that's a little better. All right, so what I have here is a horizontal number line and a vertical number line laid on top of each other. And we know the positives and negatives of this one, right? So for example, this is -1, this is +1. This is +1, this is -1. So I'm coming down here, I'm negative. Coming up, I'm positive. When I'm going left, I'm negative. When I'm going right, I'm positive. And this is called our origin. This is point 0, 0, where they intersect. So, how would I describe where a number might be on a coordinate grid? Well, I can give it an address for certain. For example, I could give something an address of 1, 4. And I would go, okay, 1, 4. Let me label my y on my x-axis here. We know x comes before y. You run before you jump. So I have 1, +1, and then I go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that would be right here where they intercept, right? So this is +1, +4. That's one way I can describe it. But today I want to talk in a little bit more broader terms. This is what's known as quadrant 1. Now, quadrant, quad. I'm thinking back to my communication, my vocabulary here. Quad means 4, right? If you drive a quad or an ATV, it has 4 wheels. Quad, quarters, quarts, 4 quarts, 4 quarters in a game, 4 quarters in a dollar. So quad means 4. At this point, this is quadrant 1. Now, the odd thing is, we in America here, we've been programmed really to go left to right, top to bottom. Everything runs clockwise. Actually, on the video that you're watching, it would be this way, it would be clockwise. And we would expect that it would go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not really the case. This is one of the odd instances where it actually goes backwards. So this is quadrant 1. And when I think of quadrant 1, I know that it's positive, positive. So if both of my numbers are positive, for example, 2, 3, 1, 4, 6, 9, they're going to be here in quadrant 1. I already know that. If I move back here, this is quadrant 2. Now we're moving counterclockwise, backwards. So we're starting at 1, then we move to 2, and there's a reason for that. My quadrant 2 would be negative, positive. So I have positive, positive, then I move negative, positive. Now if I'm moving back and down here, this of course would be quadrant 3. And I use Roman numerals to help show me these. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. Quadrant 3 would be negative, negative. So if I have 2 negatives, I already know that I'm down here. That gives me that broad stroke, that estimation, if you will, in coordinate grids. So we have 1, 2, 3, which means this is lucky number quadrant 4. And that's written as IV in Roman numerals because 4 is 1 before 5, and 5 is written as V. And quadrant 4 is positive, negative. So if it's positive, I know I'm coming to the right, and then negative, I'm going down, running and falling in a hole. So again, my quadrants, these are my estimations. So if I have positive, positive, I know it's quadrant 1. Everything is going to be here. That's positive, positive. Let me clean up all the excess here. Just so, there we go. Moving into quadrant 2, that's a negative, positive. Back and then up. If I'm moving to a negative, negative, I know I go back and down. And that's quadrant 3. And my positive, negative, that's going to be quadrant 4. So what does this look like in a word problem? Might look something like this. The point -3, +4 represents the location of a bookstore on a map of a shopping mall. Identify the quadrant where the point is located. So if I'm looking at my shopping mall, I'm just going to move my controller over here. If I'm looking at the map of a shopping mall and I'm trying to figure out where I am and where this store is located, right? So if I'm at origin point, which is 0, 0. Do I go over here? Do I go over here? Do I go down here? Where am I supposed to go? So in this case, we have -3, +4. Now, what quadrant would that go in? So I have negative, positive. I'm going to go negative and then positive because I'm going to run before I jump, right? And we know that that is in quadrant 2 because it's negative, positive. I'm going to go back and up. So -3, +4, I go -3, and then +4, 4. And if I just remove my circle here, I find -3, +4. That is where the bookstore is in the shopping mall. So if I'm here and I'm looking right at it, I know I'd want to go over this way, negative and up. Quadrant 2. So again, our quadrants, our coordinate grid is broken into 4 pieces known as a quadrant. The quadrant goes counterclockwise, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they help us estimate where things might be on a coordinate grid.